going on, guys? Welcome back into another My Own Mind podcast. For those of you who are new here, my name is Tabbie, and for those of you who are not new here, welcome back again. So today we are going to be talking about the power of awareness. I have a couple little things that I'll go on about. Just so you know, I am live on TikTok. I will start to get these scheduled so that I can tell you when I'll be live. But for now, we're having fun and I'm just doing my thing so I can help you do your thing. So the power of awareness, essentially, whether or not you want to call the law of assumption, the law of attraction, manifestation, the law of being, all of those things, it all sort of kind of boils down to the power of your awareness. What you are aware of is what you see. And this is true on every facet of life, regarding every person in your life, regarding every situation in your life. And the part that gets a little confuzzled, and that's the way I use confuse and puzzling, is it gets a little confuzzled when you have grown up and we have been immersed in this world and around people, family, friends since we were born. And we learned that who we were was based on whatever the outside world told us we were. But that couldn't be further from the truth. And the reason that there's not even a point of having like any ill will towards that or any negativity towards it is because the people who taught you these things were learning the same things that you were taught. They were taught the exact same things that they ended up turning around and teaching us. So there were a few like pioneers, and we can, the Neville Goddards of the world, Joseph Murphy, Abraham Hicks, those people were definitely pioneers. And there's always been somebody in life throughout history, many people in life that were trying to tell us differently, but that the concepts were almost so large we couldn't digest. And I actually think that is by design. I think that, it's people like that primed us, that sort of got us ready for this information. But there were things that had to happen in the world in order for us to start to transition into this new way of understanding. So at least that's the way it's been for me. So maybe that's your journey and maybe that isn't. But all I can do is talk about my experiences and how I came to understand the power of my own awareness, which upon looking closer at it, upon closer introspection, I was able to discover that, wow, I have had judgments, thoughts, opinions on every single thing that's ever taken place around me. And in most of the time I found out I was right. And isn't that the thing about it? I wanted to say a different word, but I try to keep this PG for our families that might be listening. You don't always want to be right about everything, right? I mean, we think we do, but the truth is the things that we're scared of, our worst fears, we don't want to be right about those things. But does it stop us from thinking about it? No, because it's patterned thinking. It's conditioned thinking. And if you listen to my last podcast or any of my other videos, I really do try to incorporate the science, the psychology, the biology behind the ideas of the laws of assumption, of the law of attraction, the power of awareness. Why? Because it's all connected. It is literally a layer of your mind, body, and soul. And you have to be able to incorporate those three pieces when we're navigating through the world. Because if you are navigating just as like a physical being, you're going to be lacking. There's going to be a lot lacking because we're more than physical. And so, yes, there's a science component behind these things. There's a spiritual component behind these things. There is a metaphysical, there's a quantum physics layer behind it all. So I like to break it down into little pieces of information that make sense to me, because ultimately, once I discovered my own power of awareness, I really was able to step back and take an inventory of my life. And when I realized that I had up moments and down moments and up and down and up and down and up and down and all the stuff in between, I realized that before those moments were occurring, I was already having either a very rooted belief within myself, whether it was about me or about a person, and I was never really all that surprised. Now, were there certain things that maybe shocked me a bit? Absolutely. But for all intents and purposes of this conversation, what I'm talking about is your power of awareness. So just for fun, and I talked about this on one of my TikToks that I posted or haven't posted yet, but will be posting, is just for fun. I want you to, think of a word or a color or something. And when you're driving, this is literally just for fun, just to show you that what you are aware of is so true. What you're aware of, you will see. And what's great is the things that you will notice when you pick out a word or a phrase. I'm going to give an example of this in a few minutes, but you're going to notice that thing was there all along, but that it wasn't until you deliberately and intentionally planted it within your awareness that you became aware of it. And what do I mean by this? It's a very hard concept to be able to explain it, because it's almost like when you think of something, your brain highlights it. It doesn't do it very big and loud, but it does get your focus. It grabs your attention. So, for example, I decided just for fun to say the color red. I just said, right before I was, pulling out of my driveway, I was just like, red. Why not? And without me, I literally did not try to see red. Okay. It was just that as I'm driving along, my brain sort of like highlighted every single thing that was red in my environment. Now, that path I've driven frequently. I have, I take this route every time I go to this particular destination. It's all of the red things that were highlighted on this drive were always there. Only today, when I was doing this, it was like my mind was grabbing it so quickly, red, 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 all because I decided to place it within my awareness. So when I saw red mailboxes, I saw red houses, I saw red barns, I saw red cars, I saw gas stations. I noticed the gas stations with the red banners going across, it jumped out at me. I was aware of the fact that was red. Even the signs, like the letter, for how it tells you the price of gas right now, or fuel, whatever, I noticed how many of the signs had red outlines. And again, it wasn't me looking for red. I just planted the seed and my brain did all the work. Why? Because we have what's called an RAS. That's your reticulating activating system. I can't even say it today. Reticular activating system. And this is the part of your brain that literally its job is to prove you right. It is scanning your environment for the evidence of what it is that you give it. So when you feed your awareness with something, when you plant a seed, when you deliberately and intentionally set your sight on something, your brain's job is to look for the evidence to support you. And you can call it a coincidence. You can even minimize what it is that you have placed within you and go like, oh, no, that was just a coincidence, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is whenever you do that, you're giving your power away. And, for people who like angel numbers and synchronicities, things like that, and even those things, oftentimes people in spiritual communities will say like, oh, that's a sign, that's a sign, that's a sign. And while that's beautiful and wonderful that you have that, feel that connection, and that's like something that lifts you up and inspires you, understand that the reason you're seeing it is because it is within you. So yes, you're going to notice the 222s and the 555s and the 777s and the 1234s and the 3425s. Like you're going to see those things more often because it is something that's going on within you. So let's push this out, okay? Let's extrapolate this same concept to every single thing that is in our world. How do we push this out into every single thing in our world? Well, we're doing it constantly. You have been doing it your entire life. We do it naturally. It doesn't require any effort. In fact, that's the part that I want you to try to understand. This is what I'm here to encourage you to become aware of what you are aware of, because we are on autopilot. 99% of the time, we do things without thinking. We are making judgments without actual proof. We are making judgments based on past experience, which again, you were still there in that past experience. Your awareness was still there in that past experience. And even if you have history with another person or you've never met another person, guess what? Our judgments, opinions, thoughts are shaped not only by the people who bring us up, but also by the things that we saturate and allow into our world. So whether you realize it or not, and I'm going to give you a good example of this too. You are influenced by the outside world. This has nothing to do with you being a follower or a leader. This has to do, it is in part by design that we are looking at the world to try to figure out who we are and how we place within that world or that society. It is a natural part of life. It is just, it's evolution at its finest, is us trying to figure out who we are, how we fit in, what can keep us safe, and how do we navigate this. So we've been doing it since we've been young, but when you're watching TV, and you see a scenario, whether that be good or bad, it is planting a seed and it is creating somewhat of a button that when something from the outside not involving the television or the radio or your favorite show or music, a song that you've heard, it creates this tiny little seed. And that if somebody, maybe the person has a name, hair color, eye color, tells you something about themselves, and it will trigger those synapses within your brain to find what information do I know on this subject. And it will show it to you. So you are going into everyday life with preconceived notions, things you may not even be aware of based on our upbringing, based on what we currently choose to consume. So the content that you are currently consuming, that is going to shape your awareness because it's creating the lens, because our brain is receiving the input that we are giving it. Okay. So yes, I talked about the red thing, how I saw red everywhere. And again, I wasn't doing anything to see the red. My brain was literally highlighting it like, oh, hey, look it's like a little puppy. Like that literally gets rewarded whenever you acknowledge that, oh my gosh, I'm so right about this entire thing. So it will literally, like, it brings it into your hyper focus. It pulls it out and goes, ooh, look, you're right. And even though it's not saying that, that's exactly what is happening. And that is exactly what's going on internally. So when it comes to, and that's what I wanted to say. And if you wonder, okay, and this is for my adults, okay, we grew up in a society where we're like, how is it that kids can sit in front of YouTube all day and watch other kids play video games? And like, what's the enjoyment with that? Go and play the game yourself, or go and throw that football. Don't just watch people do it. But we do the exact same things. Like, think of the DIY shows. Think of like when you're watching like HGTV, like that's a big one for me. It's like when I watch HGTV, I am like on top of the world. I'm like, they could do it. I could totally do that, because it shows you all the highlight reels, but I get true, genuine satisfaction and inspiration from watching those television shows. Or how about when we all come together as a society to watch a football game or a basketball game? We are watching other people do things that we ourselves can do, and we get satisfaction from it. Granted, it can bring a whole lot of frustration, but we're going to stick with the satisfaction component. And so, yes, even though you can be very strong-minded, you are a leader, you are innovative, and all of these things, the outside world has a huge influence on us, whether you realize it or not. And I am here to encourage you to realize it. I want you to understand that what is in your awareness is what is showing up outside of you, okay? So let's talk about this when it comes to if you have children. If you're a parent, I have heard on so many different levels, parents saying like, oh, parenting is so hard. Or I've heard first, like seeing the little images where it's like, my first child made me think that having a second child was great. And then the second child came along and they were hell on wheels, And what I want you to see, what I'm trying to get you to understand is that when you wake up in the morning, if you have children, you are already deciding what is true for them. And when you decide, like if you have a core belief about you that you have an easy child and a tough child, you will notice all of the ways that the easy child is easy and the tough child is tough. So it's our own beliefs and opinions about the people in our lives that are shaping them. If you are in a relationship and you believe that you have a bad relationship or an unhealthy relationship, I'm going to get into that in a second because I know I can hear some of you already saying, but your opinion of your relationship, you will not be able to see outside of the opinions that you have. Now, you probably have a lot of evidence. You could say, if we were sitting here like, oh, Tabbie, yes, the reason I say my child is tough is because they did this. And the reason that I say my relationship is crap is because of this. And you're giving me all of the reasons. But at some point, we hit a balancing. It's like a teeter-totter, okay? You can have good thoughts and you can have bad thoughts. But where do you spend the predominant amount of your time? Good question. That's only a question that you can answer, because if you spend your time more on the negative, you are going to see more negative stuff around you. Same as if you focus more on the positive, you will see more positive around you. Just like my example with seeing the color red today. Guess what? All of that red was already there. I just never noticed it before as much as I did today. But one thing I didn't do, I did not pick out the color purple. And I'll be honest, during that entire drive, I cannot tell you if I saw a single thing that was purple. Does that mean that the purple was not there? No, that does not mean the purple wasn't there. It just means my brain was so determined. It had a task in hand, and like a little puppy that wanted to make me so happy, it showed me all the red. It totally voided out purple, black, blue, any other color. And that doesn't mean it's not there. So if you have a tough child, if you are having difficulties in your relationship, if your workplace sucks, I'm telling you, you have to stop going to the place, dealing with the person, getting up and thinking the exact same thoughts that you think every day and expecting the outside to change. It's not going to happen. When you change your mind, everything changes. When you start planting new seeds of love and peace and kindness, you will see it around you. Just the same as when you're thinking of a vehicle that you want, you see it everywhere. When you're thinking of a friend and all of a sudden they call you. When you are deciding that Mondays suck, and they do. When you already know the McDonald's that you frequently go to has the worst service, you are making these assumptions and they are literally shaping your life. And guess what? It's you that's shaping your life. You are powerful, and you cannot keep giving your power away. You have to see yourself in those things. And some of the ways that we can do this is don't try to tackle the thing that has the biggest grip on your life, right? So if you're struggling, maybe it's with your health, maybe it's with your family life, your children or your spouse or your marriage or just a regular relationship, maybe it's your workplace, maybe whatever it is, my suggestion is start with something small. So like just for fun, focus on the color red and you're going to start to see red. Pick out a song. Like if you have a song, think of your favorite song. I guarantee you're going to hear it. And you can try and say, well, that's because blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You could say any reason. The reason is you. You are the reason. And it is what's within your awareness is what you're going to see. That doesn't mean other things are not there, right? So like I was talking about your car, if there's a car that you want, chances are you've seen that car everywhere. However, even the car that you own, your current make and model, I guarantee you when you're driving down the road, you already You can see every single other car owner who has your same car because it's within you. And our brains just pick out the stuff that's important to us. And it might not be something that you want, but if you are spending time thinking about it, your brain sees it as important. And I talked about this on another one of my little TikToks that I sent out, but I want you to think of it like if you're new to your manifesting journey, or you're just getting into the law of assumption, or if you just are trying to create a new mindset, like maybe you don't believe in any of that crap, and that's fine. You don't have to. It is not a requirement for you to know the law in order to be operating under the law. And so maybe it's just your mindset. But the thing about it is, we only have so much capacity, okay? We only have so much capacity. Our brains are marvelous and wonderful, and we live in a society where multitasking is considered a good thing. And that is also why, if you are trying to change something within you, why your mind jumps around all over the place, because we have the ability to multitask. Our attention is constantly being brought without us. And one of the most imperative things you need to do in order to change yourself, or to change the dynamic of your thoughts and what's going on inside of you, is you need to be able to have sustained focus. This means you don't allow your mind to start to tell you the story. If you notice that you have negative emotions coming up and you don't even know what you're thinking about, go back and decide, what is it that I was just thinking about? And you can say, no, I don't care how true it is on the outside. You can decide this is no longer true for me. And why? Because I've decided that right now it no longer is. I've decided right now that I am going to be so disciplined in my mind that I'm going to pick out my thoughts, that I am going to, because I know that if I can say if I can say red, and my mind will pick out all of the red in my life to just show that I'm right, I also know I can say things like love, peace, happiness, harmony, joy, happiness. I think I said that already, but I'm saying it again because it's so nice. You have to say it twice. And understand that the more that you saturate your mind with that positive input, your brain will, you don't even have to do anything. Your brain will pick it out for you. So it is working for you. It is working for your wants. And my suggestion is to start with something small. Start with something fun. Start to imagine that you don't have a line at the drive-thru. Just imagine, just for fun, like if you know that you're going to McDonald's, imagine for fun that there's not a single car in the drive-thru. Or imagine that if you always know that there's traffic somewhere, you can just have fun with it. Go like, there's not going to be any traffic today. And when it does happen, instead of going like, oh my God, no, just go like, yeah, of course it did, because it's my awareness that is showing me how bad this is. And I could go on with this all day, I'm sure. Even me with my monkey mind, I'm like, ooh, shiny new object, because I have all of these things within my awareness. I have all of these examples, testaments of my own life. And I will tell you, the hardest part of all of this, guys, is realizing that you're the one who has to change. It's not anybody else's. You cannot change anybody else, but you don't even know everybody for really all that they are, all that they could be in your life, because you've already decided who they were. You've already decided that you know an aspect of them, whether that's good or bad. I bet there are positive people in your life, and you just believe that when you interact with them, it's going to be wonderful. And it probably is. But I guarantee you there are other sides to that person as well. It's just once you decide that they are great or they are good or whatever, they just show up that way with you. But the same is true for somebody that you do not have a good opinion about. If it is a boss, if it is a coworker, if it is a family member, if it is your child, and I am not saying this to convict you. I'm sharing this with you because once you're aware of it, you can change it. You know, so often people are praying, dear God, please change this situation. Dear God, please help this person, yada, yada. Dear God, please change the outside world. And what we should be asking for is change from within, because I'm telling you, when you change your mind, everything changes. And how do you know if you changed? You'll think different thoughts. Can you imagine waking up tomorrow and for maybe the first time in a long time or ever, not feeling stressed out? Can you imagine waking up tomorrow and feeling healthy? Can you imagine waking up tomorrow and just feeling like everything is okay? Well, what things are you saying about yourself? So here yes, I'm giving tons of examples about the stuff from the outside world, but what are you saying about you? Are you being even kind to yourself? I'm waiting because I know somebody needed a second to digest that. But it is all connected. And don't feel like you have to do it all at once. Take off little pieces. Spend 5 minutes in the morning or at the end of your day and try to just recount all of the things. And maybe you can even create a little line inside your mind, these are all the positive things I thought today. These are all the negative things I thought today. And try to just tally it up. Go through your morning. How did your morning go? What did you think about that? What did you say about that? What did you feel about that? Maybe it was neutral. Great. Add it to the middle column. Great. Neutral's good. We can do neutral. It's what were you cursing? What were you saying? Oh my God, that's so annoying. What were you saying? Nothing ever goes my way. Because it's those thoughts, those are the ones that need work. All the stuff on the good side, keep it going, sweetheart. You're already on track. And all you have to do is use your teeter-totter and go to the side. Spend more time dwelling in the good stuff, and you'll see the good stuff show up outside of you. So I know somebody needed to hear this today, and I, am so curious. I'd love to talk with you guys. I'd love to know what are some things that you're struggling with, because I'll talk about it here on my podcast. I got to take a drink of water. Very thirsty. What are some things? What are some things that you're seeing? What are words that you're putting out into the universe? We can have fun with it. T-Rexes and Shakira and blue mountains and red. I already said red 1,000 times today, so we should probably keep going with that as well. Oh, and what's even better? When you put out something like that, the color red, your brain will even pull in other things that aren't really red just to try to convince you that it is red, like maroon. I saw a couple and I was like, ha, nice try, brain. You don't get the credit for that. No, that's maroon, not red, but close. You're going in the right direction. Or pinks, different pinks. It will literally try to show you, ooh, red. And you're like, again, not quite. I know you can do it because you're freaking powerful. So, if you haven't yet, be sure to follow. Guys, drop a comment down below letting me know that you understand what I'm talking about, that this resonates for you, or share your success about what is something that you were focusing on that was totally random and you just kept seeing it everywhere. And I want you to understand that that is you. That is the power of your awareness. You are freaking powerful. You are Gus. And in case you don't know what that means God, universe, source. And I want to close this off, and I'm trying to think of what else I haven't mentioned. I don't know, but make sure you keep shining your light because the world really does need it. And be sure to subscribe, comment, share. I'll be back next week with another episode. For those of you who are on TikTok waiting, I'll answer some questions live. That was super fun last week. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a great day.